What's going on, Senpai Squad? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're talking about the latest chapter of Black Clover, chapter 223, I want to say. And basically, we met Black Clover's Tabata's version of the Addams family, and that was Gordon's family, the Apriga family, I want to say they were called. And it was a very, very nice little chapter. I think most of the really eye-catching and important stuff was actually sort of hidden away throughout the chapter, because I know a lot of people will probably jump straight to the very end where we saw, I want to say his name was Nathan, his massive like black oil map magic where he could search out each and every curse, and they detected a potential demon curse in the Heart Kingdom. I know most people will point in the direction of that as being the main hype point of the chapter, but I have to completely disagree, and I've not seen anyone really talking about what I'm going to mention. I'll touch on it more a little bit later on, but I'm sort of worried because I've not seen anybody talking about it at all, really, and it sort of makes me think I'm overreacting about it and that it's actually not an important thing and I've completely misunderstood. But regardless, I think if I'm going to rate this chapter, I give it a low 4. I thought, like I said, there was one big thing hidden away in the chapter, not necessarily hidden away, but in the chapter which I really liked, and then obviously the Heart Kingdom news with the massive devil curse. We actually learned a tiny little bit more about Henry. All of that stuff was nice, and you know, meeting Gordon's family and the inclusion of Gordon, all that. It was a nice chapter. I don't really think I can say a great deal more than that. So for that reason, I'll give it a low to maybe medium 4. It was still enjoyable, I think, is the most important thing. 67% of you guys actually went and gave it a 5-star rating, so maybe I need to wind back and reevaluate what I think about this chapter. But let's jump into some of your comments and get a little discussion going. So Davier brings up something quite interesting, saying that the Behelit is surely a foreshadow that at some point Asta will be tempted to give up his friends and become a complete demon. And what a time for this to happen, as this is the theme of Ending 9. Tabata planned this. Now, the theme of Ending 9 I might be completely missing, because I think it's probably another Berserk reference. I've not read a great deal of Berserk yet. However, I can pick up on the Behelit if it's the same thing I'm thinking, which I think is something Berserk created. How it's that little like bean-shaped, egg-shaped ball thing with the set of human features which they were eating at the dinner table. Asta was eating, I believe. That is, if I'm not mistaken, off the top of my head, it's been a long time since I read Berserk. It's to do with like sacrificial things and all of that type of thing. So I think it does make sense, and it's just another little bit of foreshadowing that we've got to Asta actually losing some of his closest allies, because all throughout the elf invasion, and potentially even before that, we did get little one-liners from each of the elves, sort of, and I'm going to be paraphrasing this, sort of like, would you be prepared to kill a friend, all of that type of stuff, and, you know, that power will come with great loss, all of that type of thing that was said. And now this as well, although a more indirect foreshadow, like you mentioned, if it is like I think it is, then it does also fall into that category that at some point Asta's going to lose a lot of his closest friends. And I sort of gotten past that. I remember when we last got our foreshadow for that, I started to get really worried and scared for Asta, and I sort of moved past it. I thought, okay, groovy, the arc's ended, brilliant. And now we've got this again, and you brought that up. I'm now starting to get a little bit scared for our boy yet again. It also does make a lot of sense, because I'm pretty sure Tabata himself has said how inspired he is from Berserk, and he sort of wants to make Black Clover like a shonen version of Berserk. Now, I know a lot of people get really carried away with that quote, because I know it's been thrown around Twitter a lot and people laughing at the bare thought of it, but I sort of can see Tabata's ambitions with that, and I think by including stuff like that, it just sort of furthers his goal of what he's actually trying to achieve and where the inspirations have come from, because everyone always says he's been inspired by Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Fairy Tail, you know, you name it. You name a shonen manga, people will claim Tabata's copied it. And I'm not saying that he hasn't, but it's very clear that his actual main inspiration has come from Berserk. And so KSF Superstar's here with quite a long comment, but it's a good one, so let's cover it. So he says, I had to make a deep comment on this Black Clover chapter. Couldn't help it. Honestly, Black Clover is a series that actually cares about all of its characters and makes sure they each get developed in a way that progresses the main story. Look at how they easily got Gordon to be relevant now. I thought he was going to be a background character, really. No one felt left out in Black Clover. Everybody has a part to play, and I can't wait for the other side characters to get that shine. On a side note, the series is getting much darker, and it looks like everyone's been affected by a demon's curse some way or another. I believe Asta had magic and got drained by the demon, but that's another theory for another day. And yeah, I agree. It's quite clear that the whole theme of curses and demons is the direction Tabata's now taken this new saga. Obviously, we had the elf saga and the elf invasion, and we learn about the Clover Kingdom, the royalty, all of those type of things. And it built up into the devils, which is sort of where this new saga is going to carry on from. Obviously, we've got Magicula already. We've got whoever this demon, if it's a demon, that isn't Magicula, in the Heart Kingdom going on. We've already learned that Noelle's mother was in fact naturally killed by a curse. Obviously, Sekre is cursed, I want to say. Asta's cursed. We've got the demon horns anyway. And then Henry as well has been come out to have been cursed. And then we've also had, in this chapter, and this is the thing I've been wanting to talk about for so much, it's Nathan's mother, so Gordon's grandmother, who I don't trust in the absolute slightest, or I don't think I should trust, because, and again I'm going to paraphrase here, she says something along the lines of, when she's getting pushed out of the room by, I want to say, Nathan's wife, Gordon's mother, she's saying about how, you know, I've got such high expectations for Nathan, you know, for carrying out the contract, Magicula's curse for our generation. And it's just sort of like, is no one commenting on this? Is no one commenting on the fact that A, she said Magicula's name, one thing which you learned in the previous chapter you can't do, hello? And secondly, she knows Magicula. Something about a contract, potentially with Magicula. No one's talking about this, like, what? And another thing is, Nathan actually said in this chapter, obviously when he showed off his black oil creation magic, how it's only started in the family with his generation, him specifically, that they've actually started using their power now for medicinal, more positive things. So the generations before that, they were a lot darker. The grandmother is obviously going to be part of that generation. She was also part of the generation that was connected to Magicula of some sort and had some sort of contract. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm completely overlooking this because, like I said, no one's talking about it. But I can't look at their grandmother and not get a bad vibe about her at all. There's just something wrong about her, in my opinion. Now, obviously, Asta, Gray, Gordon, all these, they don't know who Magicula is as of right now. Only Noelle does. Only Noelle knows that you can't mention his name in the outside world, because they had to specifically go to Dorothy's dream world in order to talk about him, because they're not in the real world at that point. But Gordon's grandmother has just, without a care in the world, come out and said his name. Now, we don't know what the actions for doing that are, what the consequences are, but, and I doubt Tabata would have forgotten within a chapter's time, but he's got to follow up on that if there is actually a consequence for if you mention his name. Because if there isn't, then I don't know, what was the point of going to Dorothy's dream world? And I think the last thing I want to cover, I saw a couple of people talking about this on Twitter. It did intrigue me about how we could now potentially be going to the Heart Kingdom, which, by the way, I was completely wrong. I remember me saying that we'll be going to either the I always said I thought we'd be going to the Diamond Kingdom next because it's had the most build-up. I thought maybe the Spade Kingdom because its connections with demon culture. And I said, but not the Heart Kingdom. No, we won't be going to the Heart Kingdom at all. Boom, I was wrong. It looks like we're going to the Heart Kingdom. I can't believe how wrong I was. But I saw a couple of people saying on Twitter that maybe Gray is in fact actually originally from the Heart Kingdom. And I was thinking, that's interesting because we've managed to chuck Gordon into the mix and his backstory and his family into the mix now with this arc. I'm sure Gordon will play a huge role in this upcoming saga. I think all the Black Bulls who didn't really play a massive role in the previous saga will start to pick up the pace now in this saga. So I think Gordon, Gray and Gauche especially. But we know Gordon's probably going to be tagged along. Gray, if she's connected to the Heart Kingdom, she'll come along, she'll be like, oh, well, I'm familiar with the Heart Kingdom. And then maybe, and this is something I'm really interested about, and which will be good to actually learn more about Gray, is that he might actually finally learn who that huge, smoking dude who Gray usually transforms into as a disguise, actually is, because I've never thought too much about it, but he has to exist. He's got to be a real person for Grey to have transformed into him. So if we actually get to meet the real him, I will be incredibly hyped about that. My main thing is, how's Gauch gonna come into the mix? Maybe he'll just tag along just to get the numbers up. Maybe it'll be an order from Yami. Maybe he won't actually have that deep of a connection to what's going on the same way maybe Gordon and Grey and Asta would. But at the end of the day, like I was saying, I think that Magicular curse contract thing, I don't know if, like I said, I'm overreacting about all, or if it's just gone over a load of people's heads. I honestly have no idea. But let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought of this chapter. Leave a like on the video as well if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you're not already to become a member of the Senpai Squad and help us jump up to 3K by the end of the year. Seeing you guys in another video. But as always, peace. 執着の地獄がす寡黙なものをおびき寄せられた神々の化身恐れを知らぬ剣が貫く目指す場所とはまだ見ぬ定め近づいてくる決戦の時